Hello and welcome. I'm Parul Sharma and you're watching Zoom TV. Please join me in welcoming the stellar cast of Taj Divided by Blood. Hello, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Talking about how this is like a historical period drama, of course it's set in a completely different era. I want to know from each of you as actors, what is the most challenging part about doing a period drama? Is it like the costumes? Is it like the dialogues? Or getting yourself in the mind frame or something else? And maybe Aditi, you can kick it off since you have some experience, a little bit of experience in the zone.
I think to me the most challenging part is to not be overwhelmed with the costume and the fact that it's period and the language, and to keep it human. And to remember that actually we're telling you a story about human beings with beating hearts and feelings, love and jealousy and betrayal and, like real emotions.
Yeah.
And so just to remember that and to ground yourself in real feelings. I think that's something that I always try and sort of keep myself
reminded of that. Veteran of period drama space talking, so I feel like we should all take
notes
notes
pro.
on that.
I love period dramas.
We know and we love you in there.
Period dramas
are
love
like,
you.
Yeah, they love,
I'm so
exactly.
happy.
They love you. What about you, Taha?
I think, since this is my first historical show, as anything I've ever done in my life actually, I think the most difficult part that I would have to say I faced would have to be to make Murad a vulnerable character.
Sure.
Murad is written as a character who's very brutal, very ruthless, always on the edge, who's willing to just ready for action, ready to chop somebody's head off, all right, for any small little thing. But to make, like she said, make him not only human and make it realistic, but also his motive and intention and his innermost desires of his life.
Sure.
So I think understanding that and then playing that, because the scenes, the way it's written, it's very aggressive.
Right.
It's very vain at times. It's very, sometimes it's not even logical.
Right.
Like, why is this guy so
On edge all the time.
Yeah, calm down, man. But
Yeah.
in the end of the day, I guess deriving from my own life experiences and trying and understanding his biggest need, which is basically the approval of his father.
Sure.
Just getting a hug from his father, just that one hug maybe would have just subdued all these other emotions that have erupted in him, right? So I guess connecting my real life experiences with Murad's and kind of finding a level ground that, okay, fine, maybe Murad is like 100 times mine of where I would, I used to be a short-tempered guy. So is Murad. So I related in that sense. But I think just generating those emotions and sticking with it and still making this guy vulnerable was the most difficult part. Yes, likable and just like, okay, fine, like I hate him, but I feel for him.
Yeah.
And that's what it should be. It shouldn't be like hate him and just like he's like stupid guy. It should be like I hate him, but it's like Thanos.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's doing it, but the bigger motive is because he wants survival of the human race.
Yeah.
So it's like a bigger need.
You're one of the only few people who think like that, but sure, about Thanos at least. Aashim, what about you? What is the biggest challenge?
I think when you think about period dramas, there's a certain sort of underlying responsibility that you have for it to look like that it's larger than life
And authentic,
and
right?
authentic.
Yeah.
And I feel like for me, I wanted Salim to just be a regular guy who falls in love, who's just good to his mother, who has, like every other family, like who has differences with his parents, or who loves his brothers, and so just to make him as human as possible, and even with the dialogues, like I feel like there's a very thin line when you wear these clothes and this attire, and you tend to sort of make it very like over the top. So for me, it was just like very important to tone it down and to keep him as real as I could.
Yeah.
And otherwise, he's just a guy who's in love and who loves poetry, music, art, and music, and thereafter an
I'm not even on his list.
Love it. She's like,
No, but
right at the end.
Those three define you.
Exactly. She's an important part of that, actually. So yeah,
Thanks,
just
sir.
to make him
Thanks,
him
thanks.
very human and
Yeah.
relatable. That's all.
Yeah, I think you're very right. What you said about like being in that ensemble and having those dialogues, it's very easy to
Because
kind
you
of
could
lose
get lost.
yourself.
Yeah,
I would
exactly.
assume. Yeah. Shubham, what about you?
Yeah, it's very ironic because when I came to Bombay, I was like, I was a very greedy actor always. I wanted to do everything there is, every kind of role there is, and I still want to do it. But there was one apprehension. I was like, I'm never going to do period drama when I finally make it.
Oh,
मैं
really?
बहुत बड़ी बातें करता था, right? So I was like, I'm not going to do a period drama or whatever because it doesn't interest me. I think it's very animated and very, this thing. But when this sort of came my way, and this was the only thing that came my way, I sort of got into it and I understood that it was such a it was not just that today there are people who are battling with mental health. It is also in this time.
Right,
It
of
is also
course.
in that era that there was a different kind of a struggle that people had in terms of mental health. There were, because now we have these labels that great psychologists and therapists have sort of introduced us to. But
Yeah.
the stories were the same. They just didn't have any labels, and perhaps because of that, they didn't have the sort of they didn't even have like someone to talk about these
Yeah, a
things.
voice,
It was
yeah.
all just a very personal journey. They would go to sleep with it. They would wake up with it.
Absolutely.
They would live with those things. So that is what really interested me when I thought about it. And they're just human beings, man. Like, we're battling through our own set of struggles every day. These guys were also doing the same thing. So yeah, it's family, it's importance. It's the same sibling thing that every kid goes through.
Yeah.
When the parent sort of is more attentive to the other kid or to the younger kid, sometimes to the older kid.
Yeah.
So the same things, yeah, the same narrative, just set in a different time, and and it allows us that space to really like sort of speak, because they were huge. The rooms were huge. Everything was so big.
Yeah.
So we were not having conversations because we live in small houses. This was a palace. So endless, infinity. I just have to sum that up. That infinite number of things that sort of
Yeah.
drew me to it. And now I think I am dying to do another period piece whenever it happens.
Absolutely love the take that you had on it about mental health and how
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
struggle. It was a very
Thank
different,
you.
unique thing. Talking about the period drama space, and anyone can take up this question, it is a bit of a cluttered space, and we've kind of seen a lot before, right? What is it about Taj Divided by Blood that you guys think will kind of make it stand out in a space that has already a lot?
I mean, the
I don't
basic.
find it cluttered, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I wouldn't see it as cluttered. I would see it as, there are certain stories that are so iconic, and there are certain histories that are
Yeah.
so incredible and vast that how many ever times you retell them and reimagine them and, bring out different aspects of different stories, you never tire of them.
Sure.
And I think this is one of
One of
those.
those, right.
It's so vast. There is so much, and as we all actually said very similar things, in that it's so emotionally so fraught.
Right.
And there's so many highs, and there's so much
Layers, yeah.
so many layers that you can keep digging and you'll find more and more and more, and you can reimagine and reinterpret every single character in so many ways, and that's what makes it so exciting. I mean, look at the number of times
And,
Devdas has been made.
Yeah.
And it'll continue to be made. And
Absolutely.
that's what
It's
I
definitely
feel.
unique.
Certain stories.
And,
To add to
what-
that, like
yeah.
rightfully said, but like I also feel like it's so beautifully written. It's every character so beautifully woven in and into the story with each like they've established it so beautifully that everyone is given their own like fort, to play with, and then to maneuver through that from one relationship to the other. Everybody has their own journeys.
Yeah.
And it's not just about Salim and Anarkali.
Right.
It's not about Akbar and Salim. It's about Murad. It's about his frustrations. It's about Anarkali's and her insecurities, Salim's insecurities, about Daniel and his own journey with his, his father. So it's like, and all of these things, they are treated separately, individually in the story, and then woven in together as one big family drama, which is very interesting. So it's not just, just one person.
What he was
And
saying
you
is
have
absolutely
standouts.
right. This whole family woven thing is, I think he's absolutely right. And what I was trying to say was that the writing of it is very international.
Yeah.
Because of the crew which was on board, whether it be William or Simon or Ron. since it's an international crew who wrote this script, they didn't even know Urdu, right? When they came on set, when they were directing us, they hardly knew the language. They just knew
The
where it
emotions,
started
yeah.
and where we have to go.
Right.
The rest of the dialogues were just ours, to be very honest, right? The director was just seeing that, is he getting the nuances of where the character was and what he wants to portray through these characters.
Sure.
So he would have an umbrella of emotions, that this character would be this, and adjectives, right? This character would have these traits, personality traits or character traits, whatever you want to call them. And we would just play according to that. But what would make this really different is the perspective, that there is no cultural biases, there's no religion biases. It's always, it came from a point of view of it being an epic story about the Mughals.
Yeah.
Specifically Sultan Akbar and his 3 sons. And what I feel personally, what makes this really, really connectable in today's day and age is, with all the the romance and the lust, the love, the politics, the flaws, the dark shades that we all possess, those things. But at the same time, when the father actually puts us 3 brothers into almost like a battle with one another as to who will get the Taj. Right. It's a father putting his 3 sons up against each other.
So that family
I think
dynamic
that
is,
family dynamic is what's really going to, get people to connect with it.
It's a family at war with their own.
With their own selves.
And the most beautiful thing about this, if I may add, is that chota mu badi baat, but like any period piece that I've seen in the country so far, they're amazing, all of them. But like this I feel has like that real thing where when a brother is talking to a brother, it's not about how we are standing or how we are framed. It's just that 2 brothers walking are having a conversation. It's as contemporary as something from today, as relatable. Because I don't believe that in that era, the people were not touchy with each other or they would maintain a distance. I think people were people.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that's really special about our show.
I love that. Okay, very quickly. So all of you, of course, shared screen space with the veteran legends, which are Dharmender ji and, of course, Naseeruddin Shah. Sir, what is it that you learnt about them or observed about them while filming that kind of surprised you? All of you can maybe give me one thing about both of them.
I mean, mine was very simple. Mine thing. I never worked with Dharm sir. None of us did. But as far as Naseer sir, we've all worked with him. For me, it's his work ethic. For me, it's always been his diligence towards his script. His he didn't really reveal any techniques to me as such. But he always
no.
I'm like, damn. But he always did say that open up all your senses.
Sure.
And it's not just about let's say don't just listen, but sense everything which is happening around you. That means you have a peripheral vision. You can see this way. So because sometimes what happens is that if somebody makes a mistake, then it throws you off, and therefore then you might call cut. Let's do it again. But then that mistake is the magic.
Right.
That mistake is what if something falls and you grab it, that's the magic in it. It wasn't planned in the moment. You don't break out of character. You don't break out. So those things he always mentioned that never break. Always be aware and open up all your senses. So yeah, like I was saying, his work ethic, his diligence on the script, and just being so kind and just like a fatherly figure.
Love. Aditi, what about you?
No, and Naseer sir, I mean, we all know and we are so aware that he is a legend, and everything that he has done has been iconic.
Gold.
Yeah. But I feel like with artists like Naseer sir, because they are so passionate about what they do, and there's a sort of childlike quality to them where they're constantly bettering themselves, etc., etc. I feel with legends, sometimes we can tend to alienate them because they are on a pedestal. But I feel with Naseer sir, there was never a situation where we felt the need to sort of, put him on a pedestal and just like admire him in awe, because he's such a team player and he's so collaborative that he works with you, and I felt that was so incredible about him, that in just like 10 minutes of being around him, you feel that you can go up to him and ask him anything, can you help me with this? And that to be able to give a much less experienced actor that kind of comfort and a much less experienced actor who's probably in awe of you, that kind of comfort, you know, is incredible. And that just like that, I think that's a really, really amazing artist, a very giving, loving artist. And he was really that to me, and I think all of us. We all have very happy stories. Working with Naseer sir, he also fed us a lot, which is always a nice thing.
Yeah, you enjoy your food. I know this. You've told me before.
And I'm very cranky if I don't eat.
Aashim and Shubham, what about you?
उनके बारे में जितना बोला जाए कम है, and like Aditi and Taha rightly said, I feel like, but for me, like I just felt the fact that he's so accessible.
Right.
Like he's so his childlike ability to make you feel just so comfortable, and also like how he approaches the scene. Like there were times when we would be in the room in our own respective rooms, and sometimes Shubham would come and join if we're having lunch or whatever, and then we just want to, like, you know, like children would just want to go to his room and see what he's up to and just talk to him. And there've been many times like that, and I've just gone into his room and I've just seen him sitting with nothing on but his script in his hand.
Wow.
So that, I think that ability to at that state, I mean the stage in his life is just, it's too beautiful to watch. There's so much to learn, and while performing with him, just being present with him, I think it's amazing that we've gotten this opportunity to work with him, and to be able to do and perform scenes with him is just phenomenal.
I love it. Shubham?
Yeah, it's actually, like, I've spoken about him being this legendary human being, so I'm not going to get into that. Everyone knows that. But as an actor, there was one thing I remember. I asked him this question almost towards the end of shoot. I was like, "Sir, how much time do you take to withdraw or detach from the character when you're done filming?" And now here's a guy who's known for like theater and like he's like, and method and so much, and he's so like worshipped. He's worshipped all across the country. But you know, he said this very he just said that's rubbish. I don't believe in this. So to see, it's so reassuring for a kid to see this actor who is just saying that, like, don't take yourself so seriously. Just do your job. It's as all of you all are doing your job.
Yeah.
You wake up in the morning, you go to your workplace, you do your job. Yeah, the whole world functions like that. It's not just actors. So don't take yourself so seriously that you're like this Kudrat ka karishma. You're just another human being who's doing his job. So just take it easy, because the light boys come at 4 a.m. he said. And set up the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he said that when they can come and not complain, then I don't think actors should also be in a position where they are too, like, they have this aura that, okay, we are the most important things. So he just like put me down to the ground.
Size.
And I love you.
Well, thank you so much for joining,
Thank
guys.
you.
It's been an
Thank you so
absolute
much.
pleasure.
Thank
Wish
you
you
so
all
much.
the very best and can't wait to watch the show.
March 3rd.
March 3rd, Taj, divided by blood.